Okay, thank you, Maria. Okay, everyone, good evening and welcome to the Council's Audit and Ethics Committee meeting today. My name is Paul Dudfield and I am the chairman of this meeting. This meeting is being web streamed to the public and is being attended by members through Microsoft Teams. Before we begin working through the agenda, I will go through some rules on procedure. The web streaming of this meeting is being monitored by IT services. If at any point there are any streaming issues, then I will be informed and the meeting will be adjourned until such time that the technological issues can be resolved. If during the course of the meeting any member of the committee is having connection issues, then there will be a short adjournment of up to 5 minutes to determine whether the connection issues can be resolved. If following the adjournment the connection issues cannot be resolved, then providing the meeting remains quorate, then it will continue. It will be deemed that the member with connection issues has left the meeting and will no longer be able to participate. For all attendees, please switch off your microphones and cameras, and for members of the committee, your microphones and cameras should be switched off unless you are speaking. If you wish to speak during the meeting, please use the raise hand function and wait for me to ask you to speak. The voting during virtual meetings will use the raise hand function. I will call on the Democratic Services Officer to confirm the vote. Are there any questions before we move into the formal agenda? Okay, thank you. I will now ask our Democratic Services Officer to confirm the attendees at this meeting. This will be for members of the committee only. When your name is called out, please confirm your attendance.
Thank you, Chair. So, Chairman, Mr. Paul Dudfield.
Yes, present.
Vice Chairman, Mr. John Eves.
Present.
Councillor McQueen.
Present.
And Councillor Mistry, in case he joined. No, he hasn't. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the formal agenda then, please. Just bear with me, just papers. So, are we happy to confirm the minutes of the previous meeting held on the 26th of January? So I'll look to John and Craig because I wasn't present at that meeting.
Yes, Chair.
Yes, it's fine with me.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Veronica, do we have any apologies for absence?
2 apologies for this evening from Councillors Cranham and Pacey.
Okay, thank you. We note those. Okay, item 3 on the agenda, declarations of interest. So can I ask if we need to receive declarations of item 3A, non-pecuniary interests as defined by the Council's Code of Conduct for Councillors. Item 3B, pecuniary interests as defined by the Council's Code of Conduct for Councillors. And item 3C, notice under section 106 Local Government Finance Act 1992, non-payment of community charge or council tax. Okay, thank you. So no declarations, Veronica, thank you. Okay, if we move on with the agenda then, item number 4, which is the external audit progress report and sector update. And I should start, I suppose, by welcoming Avtar to his first meeting with us. So welcome, Avtar. I'm not sure who's going to take this through this, so I can see Grant's on the call and Jim as well. So we're in your hands, I guess.
Thank you, Chair. So I think what we'll do is I will go through the progress report, etc. And if Jim or Grant want to add in anything I may miss, then we'll let them add in anything. So just to say, I used to work with the council a number of years ago as the audit manager, and now I look forward to working as the engagement lead going forward. So what we have provided you this evening is the audit progress report. I'm going to take the audit progress report as read and just draw out some key information. So one of the things that we want to just present to you is that for 2019-20, we still had certification of claims and returns to be completed since the last Audit and Ethics Committee. And since then, we have certified both the Housing Capital Receipts Return and also the housing benefits assurance claim as well. And those have now been signed off.
Sorry, Avatar, it's Grant here. Just kind of just a correction there. We've done the housing benefit claim isn't quite finished yet. We're still working our way through the housing benefit assurance. I think we've certified pool capital receipts return, but I can give an update on where we are on housing benefits, if that's okay. So, if you're happy to have it now, or I'll wait for Avatar to finish doing that.
Grant, if you want to just update on that one, and then I'll progress forward.
Yeah. In respect of housing benefits, just a quick update for the committee. We are behind where we would ideally like to be. We did start off in the summer roughly on time in terms of we did send out discovery samples, but because of some resource challenges within our own team, alongside the pandemic, we didn't pick up the claim again until towards Christmas. So we've been working with the council and its benefits team to get the claim completed, and the council has applied for an extension. We've now received back the final, what we would say 40+ workbook from the council yesterday. We're reviewing that, and I'm looking to hopefully sign off the benefits claim early next week. So we're all a little bit behind. We recognise that a lot of part of that is down to our own resourcing restraints on that, as well as working with the council. But we should be in a position to sign that off early next week. So I'll just give that update now.
Okay, thank you, Grant. Sorry, can I just nip in very quickly there then, Grant? But in terms of the timescales that we're required to meet, so with the extension that we've asked for, that's all fine.
Yeah. I mean, the original I think it was extended out to the end of January. You did get an extension to the end of March, but we just asked for another week. So I don't think there should be any issues with the department in that sense. And I do know as a firm there are still a couple that we're not even, we won't be signing off in the next couple of weeks as well, due to various matters. So I'm not anticipating any particular challenges with that. And the council has requested, and we've agreed to, we are meeting with officers in May to determine any improvements that we can make for the 2021 claim. And clearly Avatar and the team will be picking that up going forward. But yeah, we have agreed to meet in May to make sure that this process for 2021 is much smoother.
Thank you. Okay, Avatar, back to you.
Thank you, Chair. So just to give you an update where we're at with in terms of 2021 audit. So we have started our planning procedures around this, and what we intend to do is to bring to the audit committee next time the audit plan for you have to have a view at and just look at what are the significant risk areas that we've identified, and the value for money conclusion risks. In the plan, when we present the plan next time, I'll just go into a bit more detail around the change in some of the accounting standards and our approach to the value for money conclusion work. On the page 11 of the pack, we've just given an example of significant risks and areas of focus that we'll probably bring into the audit plan. But much of this is quite similar to prior years, but some of the work has been extended in terms of value for money conclusion work, and also to acknowledge the impact of COVID-19 funding on revenue, and also to look at if there's any specific expenditure risks. So there's a few tweaks in the way that we do the audit work, but I don't think in terms of the financial statements there's any significant differences that you will see, apart from just levels of documentation that we're asking for around changing accounting standards and the changes in the code. So at that point, just to give you an update, that's where we're at with the plan. So I'm happy to take any questions in anything else that anyone's picked up from the progress report.
Okay, thank you, Avatar, and thank you, Grant, for providing that extra information. Thank you. I had no questions, so it seems that we're on course, notwithstanding the delay in the extension, to get things to us in the timescales that you need to. John or Councillor McQueen, did you have any questions for Avatar?
No,
I don't know.
That's quite straightforward. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, okay then, thank you, Avatar. So we're asked to we are asked to note the external audit progress report and sector update. So could I ask Craig or John to propose that and to second that, please?
Happy to propose.
I'll propose it.
Oh, sorry, I'll second then.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and I support that as well. Veronica, do we need to raise hands? Sorry, I should be asking.
As it's only the three of us, and you all three seem to want to carry the motion, then I'll take that as approved.
Okay, that's my fault, Veronica. So for the further motions, I'll ask that we raise hands to confirm, but take that one as unanimous from myself, John and Craig. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Avtar, and sorry, and welcome again, Avtar, and we look forward to working with you and the team. So welcome back to the council. And Grant, thank you for all the work that you've done. So will we see you again, Grant, or is that you signing off now?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I was going to say, I think it is my signing off. I'm not disappearing. I'm still going to. I'm not leaving the firm. I still will be in the area. I was just going to say I will express my thanks to yourself and the members of the committee, both for your insights and your challenge. And I know audit can be challenging at times, and where we have come with findings, you've taken them on board and responded appropriately. And we look to be challenged as well. And I think absolutely Avtar and Jim, certainly when they start talking to you about estimates a bit later on, and your understanding of the assumptions behind that will continue. So I just want to say thank you for being a positive audit committee in my time. And yes, I'm sure we'll meet up again, and just thank you for support as a council. Okay.
Okay, no, thank you, Grant. Thank you from the committee and from all of us. Thank you. Okay, let's move on then. So next item, you've got to bear with me. Sorry, I've got my papers on a different laptop, so just bear with me. Okay, John, item number 5, General Fund Medium-Term Financial Plan. John Illingworth, is this over to you?
Yes, thank you, Chair. This report is following a request at the last committee to have a continued update on the financial position for the general fund over the life of the medium-term financial plan, and the recommendation in this report is to note the information as note the update on the general fund medium-term financial plan. I won't go into the report in any great detail, but to summarise, the cover report provides an update on the council tax setting or the budget setting process for 21-22, and it also provides a bit of background to the SITFA Financial Resilience Index, which is used to identify potential areas of financial stress in all local authorities. I suppose the caveat with the resilience index this year is that it's based on pre-COVID-19 information, but as it says in the report, it does show that we were at the lower end of stress in terms of our reserves position, which hopefully goes to give the committee some reassurance around the use of reserves that we've drawn upon to balance the 21-22 budget position. Appendix A of the report is a slide deck of a presentation that I've pulled together, which looks at the key aspects of budget setting and also the future medium-term financial plan. I won't go into it I won't provide the presentation to you all, but to summarise that the first part of the presentation looks at the 2021 budget monitoring position as at Q3. Then there's a summary about how we plan for delivering a balanced budget for the year. There's also a section then on the medium-term financial plan for capital and revenue. There's a section on what the financial resilience index actually looks like for us as an organisation, and finally there's a section on the results of our reserves risk assessment over the life of the medium-term financial plan. And I suppose at that point, I perhaps will open the floor for any questions that the committee might have on the situation.
Okay, thank you, John. So the committee and other people present might remember. So we asked for this report just so that the audit committee was appraised of the financial position and the challenges going forward. So I'd gone through the slides, John. So thank you for those. I thought they were very informative. So I can see that Craig's waiting. So Craig, just bear with me. So I just wanted to ask John. So on the slide, the summary of the medium-term financial plan, where we talk about next year. Sorry. Yes. Next year, 22-23.
Yes.
You know, there's a significant savings to be found there. So when, and apologies if I've missed this in the document. So when will the work start on looking that 12 months ahead to find that, to fill that gap?
The work has already started, Chair. So we're waiting on the new senior management team appointments to take place, and what we're now in a position of doing is giving the new senior management team some more training on the medium-term financial plan, and we are starting now to look at areas where we can generate some savings to deliver that target for 22-23. So yeah, work has begun.
Yeah, so I guess implicit in my question, John, is we're not leaving this till the back end of this year to suddenly start worrying about this. We're on the case. We're doing something about it now.
No, we're doing something about it now, and because some of the items that we identify to be delivered for 22-23 may need some leading time in order to be approved. It could be that Cabinet and Council are presented with options for approving potential savings earlier in the financial year, so that we've got sufficient time to get things in place so that it can be delivered from the 1st of April 2022, which is slightly different to the approach we've taken in previous years, because we've done a lot of the business around savings between January and February's budget setting. So yeah, we are looking to do things earlier where we can, because it's a large target.
Okay, no, that's great. I take assurance from that we're on the case already and planning, you know, effectively 12 months ahead. Thank you, John. Craig.
Yeah, sorry. I was going to say we are looking to, rather than concentrating on 22-23, we are looking to have a items presented to members which will balance the whole medium-term financial plan. As we sit here now, 23-24 is a £16,000 target, but I'm sure as we go through the process and more things become apparent, those values will change. But we're looking to balance the whole medium-term financial plan as opposed to 1 year.
Okay, thank you, John. Craig, sorry I kept you waiting. Craig, Councillor McQueen.
No, thank you. Thanks very much. John, I just had a couple of questions around the impact of reserve risk and the chart on page 16 and 17 of the pack that was supplied. So the chart on page 17 shows the reserves declining quite significantly over the next 5 years, with quite large possible drawdowns. So it was that word possible that I wanted to query. How accurate is this? Is this worst case scenario we're looking at, or is it? Yeah.
Sorry. So to answer your question, Councillor McQueen, what we do as part of our reserve risk assessment is look at the potential risks that are facing the council over the next 4 years. So that we rag rate the potential risks, red being we're fairly confident it will happen, and green being we'll identify, but it's less likely to happen. So at the moment, that is every potential risk, but some of those risks are more likely to occur than others. But this hopefully is the worst case scenario, and as we go through the financial years, we will refine that information and adjust it accordingly.
Sure. And my other question around that was, I note that the reserve balances include the climate change emergency reserve, so the £500,000 the council agreed. I would expect that to be spent on the climate emergency over the next couple of years. So is it appropriate having that in as a reserve in the same way that the general fund balance is?
So the way that this reserve risk assessment looks at our corporate reserve So
right.
so it includes all reserves, and some of the so the climate change reserve is in there, but the forecast use of, or the projected use of that aligns with when we think that drawdown will take place. That climate change reserve is specifically for climate change work, as opposed to being used to offset any pressures that the organisation might have. But the other thing to draw your attention to is that there's a big drop between 2021 and 21-22, but that's to do with the timing of some of the cash we've had as a result of the business grants. The other main drop between 21-22 and 22-23 is around that we know that the business rates reset is on the horizon, and we've put reserves in place to mitigate against that cliff edge drop. So what we're anticipating is that cliff edge will take place between 21 and 22 now, because it's all been delayed. So again, it's a drop that we would always plan for, but when you look at the risk assessment, it does show a quite a steep drop in that year.
Sure, that's really helpful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. John Eves, anything for John Illingworth?
No, I found it very useful, but no particular questions.
Okay, no, thank you, John. Avtar, could I just ask you, is this, I guess you're seeing problems, financial issues like this across your client base. So will this feature as part of your future planning, the financial position of the council?
Yeah, so what we do as part of our VFM procedures, we'll be looking at all the information available on the medium-term financial plan and just take an overview on, is there any material weaknesses or big significant deficiencies in the plan in terms of assumptions, etc., that we want to follow up in our value for money conclusion work. So what we do, I don't want to comment right now if there is a significant risk, but we'll review it and then bring it to you in the audit plan going forward.
Okay, no, thank you. That's helpful as well. Okay, we're asked to note this report from John. So thank you, John. That's the first time I think we've had a report of this nature, I think, at the Audit Committee setting out the medium-term financial plan and financial position. So thank you for responding to that. So could I ask for a proposer to note the report and a seconder, please? And could
I'll propose.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, and then could we raise our hands to vote that we're happy with that? John, I'm not sure how you raise your hand on the phone, so do you have to tell us that you're okay?
My hand is raised.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Veronica, that's unanimous on that, thank you.
That's correct.
Okay, let's move forward then. Thank you everyone for that. Let's move forward to item 6, accounting policies. So John Illingworth again. John, I know it's a meaty document, so I guess if you could just focus on any key changes, indeed, if there are any. So this is an annual document that you bring to us, isn't it, for review?
It is, yeah. So I wasn't proposing to go through the whole document. This is the annual accounting policies update that comes through every year. And it's just providing the committee with the policies in which we'll produce our accounts for 2021. All the details are in Appendix A, which is page 45 onwards of the agenda pack, and I can report there are no material changes to make the committee aware of. The report also gives an update on the deadlines for producing the accounts this year. So you may recall pre-COVID, the deadline to produce pre-audit accounts was 31st of May, and then published was 31st of July. Under these new regulations, the deadline is 31st of July for the pre-audit and the 30th of September for post-audit. The only thing to draw your attention to on paragraph 2.2, it says the accounts are made available for public inspection for 10 days. That's a typo. It should say 30 days. But everything else, it stands. I'll open the floor up for any questions that you might have on the policies.
Okay, thank you, John. So I had no questions. Councillor McQueen or John, do you have any questions for John on the accounting policies update?
Nothing from me, thank you.
No, nothing from me.
Okay, thank you, John. Okay, could we have, so we're being asked to approve these actually, so could I have a proposer and a seconder for that, please?
I'll propose.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. And could we vote, please, that we're happy with that?
My hand is raised.
Okay, thank you, Veronica. That's unanimous. Thank you.
Correct.
Okay, let's move on then. Item 7, Treasury Management Practices Update. John Illingworth again, please. Again, a meaty, very significant document, John, and I know we've seen this in different guises, I think, at the committee over the years.
Yeah, and again, I won't go through it in any great detail. You've had the documents, and the recommendation is to endorse the practices that we're going to adopt. The background is to this, that CIPFA recommends that we have these practices in place to set out how we're going to deliver our treasury management strategy. We've always had these TMPs in place, like you said. We've been to the committee a few times, but when we presented the treasury management strategy in January, we fed back to the committee that we'd updated TMP 1, but we're going through a process of updating the following 11, just to update them for the current situation. So the purpose of this report, and it's shown in Appendix A, we have updated our TMPs, and they're there for the committee for endorsement. And again, unless anyone's got any questions specific on those, I won't go into it in any great detail.
Okay, thank you again, John. So, you know, they looked familiar actually from obviously reports that you've given to us previously, and I appreciated the detail actually, just setting out, just giving us a good understanding of what they're all about. So I didn't have anything further to add or ask than that. So I'll ask Councillor McQueen or John if they have anything to ask.
Nothing from me, thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank
No,
you.
no, it's a very thorough document. It's no questions at all.
Okay, thank you both. Okay, so we're being asked to endorse the practices that are set out in the paper. So as previously, could we have a proposer and a seconder, please?
Shall I propose?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. And can we vote on that, please, to confirm?
My hand is raised.
Okay, thank you all. That's unanimous, Veronica, on that one. Thank you. Okay, where are we? Item 8, Internal Audit Progress Report. Chris Green, welcome to the meeting. Chris, you're going to talk us through the progress report.
I am, yes, thank you, Chair. So this report can be found at pages 102 to 123 in your main agenda packs. The report sets out progress towards delivering this year's internal audit plan, a service performance update, and proposed amendments to the programme of work. Turning firstly to the proposed amendments to the plan, these are set out on page 105 of the main agenda pack. There are 2 proposed changes. Firstly, it's proposed to cancel the land charges audit on the basis that a new system is no longer being implemented, and the council has been advised that responsibility is to be transferred back to the land registry. Secondly, we were due to carry out some work in relation to the new housing management system to provide assurance that data sets will be accurately and completely transferred across from legacy systems. However, that project hasn't yet reached the stage where this testing can be carried out, and it's therefore proposed to defer this piece of work to the next quarter. Moving on to delivery of the plan, progress is set out in Appendix A at pages 108 to 116, and I'm pleased to report that the internal audit plan will be completed in time for my annual report to be presented at the next committee meeting as planned. As in previous years, a small amount of time will be required after year end to complete field work for 3 assignments which remain in progress and to agree and finalise outstanding reports. This won't have any substantial impact on the ability to deliver an adequate audit plan for 2021-22. As agreed at the last meeting, the internal audit plan for 2021-22 will be developed with the new senior management team during April and May and presented to the committee at the next meeting in June. In the meantime, the team will start work where possible on those audits which have been deferred from this year and has been previously agreed with the committee, and that was due to the pandemic situation. Moving on to performance, this is summarised in the appendix at pages 110 and 111. The figures are broadly static. there has been a small decrease in the proportion of agreed audit recommendations implemented by the agreed date to 74%. The overall implementation rate, however, remains high at 92%. And again, I think that the pandemic has had something of an impact, although I feel significantly less than expected. There are 17 recommendations which are currently overdue. 7 of these are high risk and 7 are medium risk. Further details are on pages 119 to 123. The high-risk actions all relate to health and safety, which was specifically considered by the committee at the last meeting in January. A further update report on health and safety will be presented by the Deputy Executive Director at the next meeting in June. Members are asked to consider and note the report and to approve the proposed amendments to the plan, and I'm happy to take questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Very comprehensive. So I think you said this in what you just said. So my question was going to be, can you just confirm that the changes to the plan won't, in your opinion, affect your ability to give a comprehensive opinion, so that that you feel that you've covered sufficient work across the breadth of the organisation, notwithstanding those deferrals that we're going to be asked to approve tonight?
Yes, Paul, I can confirm that. That's something I've checked each time we've made changes to the plan. And actually, because of all the substantial amount of grants assurance work that's been carried out, and the fact that, as reported to the last committee, we brought in TIAA to deliver 3 audits for us to allow us to pick up on some further additional grants assurance work. Actually, our coverage is slightly higher for the year as a whole than it would otherwise have been. But we do cover all of the required areas under the standards. Okay,
thank you. And the second one from me, just before I ask Councillor McQueen or John, so we're very well versed, as you know, on the health and safety issues, and we had a comprehensive update on that at the last meeting. So I'll park those one for now. With the other recommendations that are outstanding, is there anything in those that gives you concern? So I think, the write-ups seem pretty positive, don't they, that work's ongoing and things are happening, so it's not that they've just been ignored and left aside. And would you mirror that view that there's nothing for us to be concerned about in those other actions that are overdue?
I broadly mirror that view, Paul. I think the only one that would slightly concern me is the ongoing reviews in relation to various discounts and reductions in council tax. It's flagged as a medium risk. There is a risk, of course, that in the light of that work being carried out, that there could be individuals who are claiming reductions, that are continuing to claim reductions that they're not actually entitled to. But I think we have to consider this in the overall mix. The very difficult decisions have to be made by all of our services at the moment, particularly this last year, but where they deploy their resources to the maximum benefit. And for the revenues team in particular, it's been incredibly demanding on that team in relation to grants administration. And not for one moment would we consider that resources should be expended on carrying out that particular review on council tax reductions at the cost of getting out business grant refunds and out to the business community. So I think it's understandable that that particular action is outstanding, but notwithstanding that, we'll continue to monitor, follow up and report to the committee as and when required.
Okay, thank you, Chris. And yeah, clearly there's been resource impacts and distractions, hasn't there, if that's the right word. Is it in the event, so using that specific example, so if we subsequently find that someone has continued to receive a discount that they wouldn't have been eligible to had we been on the ball and reviewed it more quickly, does that get pursued retrospectively? So do we then bill that individual or adjust their benefits or so on? So I suppose I'm asking, it's not a lost issue. We're just going to be picking it up later than we would have done.
That's absolutely right, Chair. Of course, the very first thing that the council would do is stop the reduction, and then we'll seek recompense retrospectively. So it's work deferred rather than work cancelled.
Yeah. Okay. that's fine, thank you. Okay, nothing else in the other recommendations then, Chris? You picked that one out. There's nothing else in there that would concern you'd bring to our attention?
That's certainly the one that would concern me above any of the others, Chair.
Okay, no, thank you. Okay, Councillor McQueen or John, any questions for Chris on his report?
Nothing from me other than to say, considering the distractions we've had over the last 12 months, it's really impressive how much work has been done. So thank you ever so much, and thank you to the officers involved.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. I'll pass that on to the team.
Just one thing from me, Chris. Obviously, a lot of your work is not being able to be done face to face in the current situation. Do you feel that you've been able to pursue the audits to the sort of the depth that you would normally be happy with?
Thanks, John. Yes, is the answer in short. There have been a few instances where we've had to wait longer than we might otherwise have waited for information to come through. That's where, if you take the traditional audit approach, you'd actually be able to pop round to the relevant office and look at the information either on a person's screen, or you might be provided access to paper files. But of course, nowadays most things are online, and you can do that remotely. And in fact, we've just shown we've had a couple of audits that have recently been carried out, one on expenses and one on complaints, compliments and suggestions follow-up, and they've been completed by a person working down in near Portsmouth, and in really good quick time with support from council officers. So I'd just call out actually that council officers in general have been really generally supportive of us when we've been carrying out our work, and it's been a good example in what's actually possible. But I'll just temper that slightly by re-emphasising that there are a few audits that we haven't been able to do because of the situation, and there'll always be some audit work that you will require that face-to-face contact. I'm thinking particularly of CCTV, where we can't really realistically do that work without seeing where cameras are and signages, etc., and work down at the work referees unit. We would usually prefer to be there face to face, but again, even with those, I think given time there may be a way of working around a solution with those, but it perhaps wouldn't be as efficient as other approaches might be.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chris. So, Chris, all I'd add to that, and it's a bit of a cliche because I know everyone's saying this at the moment, but let's not go back to the old way of doing things just because we can when this is all over. So, you know, if there are efficiencies and things that you've been able to pick up and use in delivering the audit plan, then please let's make sure we keep those going forwards.
Absolutely agree. Thanks, Chair. Agree.
Okay, thank you. So we're asked to note the report, and we're asked to approve the proposed amendments to the plan. So again, could we have a proposer and a seconder, please, on those two items, to note the report and to approve the changes to the plan?
I'll propose that.
I'm happy to second.
Okay, thank you. If we could vote on that then, please.
My hand is raised.
Okay, thank you. Veronica, that's unanimous again.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, let me just get my agenda back up. Sorry, just bear with me. Okay, so item 9 now. If I'm going to propose a motion to exclude the public under section 100A(4) of the Local Government Act 1972. So I'd ask you to consider passing the following resolution: that under section 100A(4) of the Local Government Act 1972, the public be excluded from the meeting for the following items on the grounds that they involve the likely disclosure of information defined in paragraphs 1, 2 and 3 of Schedule 12A of the Act. So could I ask for a proposer and a seconder on that, please?
I'm happy to propose.
Well, I'm happy to second.
Okay, and if we could vote, please.
My hand is raised.
Okay, thank you all. So that's unanimous, Veronica. So could I ask IT to let me know, Maria, sorry, could I ask you to let me know when the stream has ended, please, and we can continue.